DirtTrax is sponsored by Can-Am, the ride says it all. Polaris, the ultimate in off-road vehicles. Hatfield McCoy Trails, where hundreds of miles of off-road adventure await you today. Yamaha ATVs and side-by-side vehicles, real world tough. And by Honda. Check out the growing family of Honda ATVs and side-by-sides.
I've been to Hatfield McCoy more times than I can count. I've done everything from extracurricular activities like whitewater rafting to caving, riding motorcycles. I've ridden 7 of the 8 Hatfield McCoy Trail networks. Every time I go to West Virginia, I stay in a small town. But this trip was pretty much the opposite. For this trip, we're gonna ride a brand new Hatfield McCoy trail system. It's called Ivy Branch, and it's located right outside the city of Charleston. It's a brand new trail system. It's got a few new features that we haven't seen from any other Hatfield McCoy systems. And one of the biggest things that sets it apart, I think, from the others is its location to a full-size, fully equipped city versus tiny little town. Another thing that makes this trip unique is that I'm here with DirtTrax Television's newest co-host, Shelby Mahon.
We've always been involved with snowmobiles in some aspect, as well as ATVs. I mean, I remember being 3 and 4 years old, my dad going out to collect wood and taking the snowmobile out into the bush. Eventually we got our own sleds, so we've always been trail riders with a big, big passion for it. Every winter, it's always what we look forward to. And then eventually I finally got a chance to try the snowcross racing. Once I got a little too fast for the trails, it was the safest place to be was racing instead. Come summer, it was always ATVs. They were always a way to have fun, enjoy, spread out the motorsport season.
Shelby shares a really strong background in snowmobile racing, like myself and my brother do. And that's how we got hooked up through that kind of fraternity. And she seemed like the perfect person to come onto DirtTrax TV and add not only a female perspective, but another true Motorhead perspective. Comparatively speaking, Ivy Branch is a smaller trail system than many of the other ones in the Hatfield McCoy network. What I'd heard about it was that it was small and the trails themselves were a little less technical, but the offshoot trails are almost all double blacks. I really was looking forward to getting out on the trails with Shelby and seeing how she rides and hearing her opinions of the vehicles and the trail as well. As soon as we left the trailhead, I could tell without question that this was a Hatfield McCoy trail system. There's a very distinct look to their trails. First, they're impeccably maintained, and second, they're impeccably signed. And those two things were immediate as soon as you pulled onto the trail in your side-by-side.
Definitely with the Hatfield McCoy trails, I experienced a lot of variation in the trails. You had everything from easy trails to hard trails, which was really nice. You got to ease your way in. I hadn't been on an ATV hadn't driven a side-by-side really at all in my life. So it was really nice to start with some nice, easy loping trails through the wilderness to kind of get a feel for things. I really like the Ivy Trail specifically because of its diversity. The fact that you could bring a group of people down with all different levels of capabilities, and one group can go out one way, another group can go out another way. They can ride all the trails they want, they can meet up part way. There's some trails that actually run side by side, so people can take the easy way and they can watch the people take the harder trails that are more challenging.
I gave Shelby maybe 5 miles to kind of get her bearings in the Razor. She'd never driven a Razor before, so this was new to her and I didn't want her to be intimidated. But I wanted to ramp it up as well and see what she was capable of. So I kind of took it in increments, and eventually, as it always seems to do, the ride turned into a fast-paced ride.
It was really nice being able to follow him because I figure, you know, if a guy can do it, I can do it. So if I see one person do it, I definitely want to give it a shot anyways.
DirtTrax is sponsored by Brimstone, where the journey is your reward.
I think the most distinguishing feature of Ivy Branch as a trail system is its technical rock crawling opportunities. A lot of Hatfield McCoy trail systems have double black diamond trails or have technical trails, but I've never ridden one that has rock sections like this one does.
Watching Luke go through the riverbed rock climbing was pretty impressive. I really didn't expect us to be able to make it through some of those sections. I mean, when the guys pointed it out and said, "That's where you're going," I went, "Are you serious? We can do that with these buggies?" It was pretty neat being able to get out and spot and really help each other get through it. I really liked that camaraderie. It really felt like that's what riding was like with me, with my dad. We always helped each other. He got out and he'd show me where to go, and I really liked that aspect, having someone I could trust.
I think Ivy Branch and our little rock crawling adventure was a perfect example of that, where we had to rely on each other to get through this.
So it was excellent having someone with experience as well to show me, go over there and you'll make it. Even if we didn't, we still tried.
If you're looking for something different, a little bit different experience at Hatfield McCoy, I think Ivy Branch is the system that really does offer that. On this trip, Ivy Branch offered a really interesting opportunity to do something I'd never done before. Ivy Branch is unique in that it is the only trail system in the Hatfield McCoy network that allows full-size Jeeps and rock buggies and trucks, whatever you've got, full-size vehicles can be driven anywhere on these trails. We organized a ride with a couple local rock crawlers, a local rock crawling club actually, to bring out a few of their vehicles and a few of their more advanced drivers and take Shelby and I out for our first ever full-size rock crawl.
My very first vehicle was a Jeep. I never got to jack it up or do anything fancy with it, but it certainly gave me a taste for the off-roading life, and I was really looking forward to an experience to go out with real Jeeps that were really designed to crawl over rocks and go through mud and really experience the roughest terrain possible.
I was pretty, I'm gonna say, underwhelmed with the comfort level of these rock crawlers and buggies. They're pretty utilitarian. From the time you crawl in and put on your harnesses, there's not a lot of stuff there. I mean, there's not even a cup holder. When we went out the trail, I was also kind of surprised at how rough the ride was. These things have incredible travel, but they're not meant to ride well, they're meant to crawl. So the ride out to the rock crawling areas was kind of a rough one. But once we got to the rocks, you know, the crew did what they always do. Everybody parks their trucks and everybody gets out and walks up the side of the rock cliff, and they're all kind of there to spot you. When we started crawling, it literally blew my mind what these vehicles were capable of.
The Jeep I was in was awesome. It was pretty much my dream vehicle. You know, high off the ground, no worries. It was incredibly comfortable, actually. I wasn't sure. I was expecting to get tossed around a lot and really roughed up, but it was really comfortable. The suspension was designed to handle everything we went through, so it was really a solid, smooth ride.
Rocks that you look at and you think, that's not a rock, that's half a mountain. These things, they just put them in super low range, first gear, and just let the clutch out, and they crawl effortlessly over top of these rocks. There were spots where we were completely vertical and basically looked like you were ready to take off into space. It was just kind of unbelievable what these things were capable of doing, and it was a really fun experience.
They took us to another riverbed that was designed for Jeeps. These rocks were much bigger, and I really was shocked that that's the way they could go. The flex from the suspension on the Jeeps really made that possible, and I'd never experienced it before. So I was really surprised when they were halfway up a rock and halfway down a rock, and we were fine. You know, we were pretty much level and there was no issues, but I mean, there were times when all of a sudden it would tip and you'd be on two wheels and you could see the ground coming at you and you're kind of like, oh, are we gonna roll? Are we not gonna roll? And sure enough, you know, Lee, my driver, he knew exactly what he was doing, and he pulled us out of a couple of close calls, and that was took a lot of trust in him, but I definitely figured it's his vehicle, he knows what he's doing, and it's his fault, not mine, if we go over.
You look back at where you just come from, and it was like, I can't believe these vehicles can do this. This is really impressive. And of course, the drivers themselves, those guys know what they're doing. They know how to handle these buggies, and I was pretty thankful that they all kept us rubber side down anyway. Before you embark on a trip to Hatfield McCoy, you really need to decide what kind of experience you want to have. Are you looking for a more rural lodging experience in a small town in the real backwoods of West Virginia, real true down-to-earth West Virginia? Or are you looking for kind of a more suburban experience? I think the great thing about Hatfield McCoy is that you can get any of those things and everything in between. We happened to experience the more suburban lifestyle with this one on Ivy Branch, staying right in Charleston. But who knows where we'll end up next time? It could be completely different.
DirtTrax is sponsored by SuperATV, the industry leader in aftermarket parts and accessories for the off-road market.
Of all the Japanese side-by-side OEMs, we have the highest expectations for Yamaha. After all, they were among the very first in the side-by-side game with the original Rhino. With big expectations from both the enthusiast media and a legion of loyal Yamaholics, there's a ton of off-roaders waiting for the next big thing from the Big Y. Last year, Yamaha landed a completely new sport utility side-by-side, the Viking. The vehicle was much anticipated by dealers who gobbled up all the Vikings Yamaha could build in model year 2014. The side-by-side business is, without a doubt, a latest and greatest marketplace. You have made it crystal clear you expect more from Yamaha. In fact, we have heard repeated crowings for a pure sport razor competitor from Yamaha. So guess what? That's not what this test ride will cover. In fact, the vehicle Yamaha has chosen to follow closely on the heels of the Viking introduction last year is another Viking, a variant called the Viking VI, a full-on utility off-road people hauler of heroic dimensions. While your pulse may not be pounding at the arrival of the Viking VI, we think its existence foreshadows good things to come. In fact, the Viking VI is a solid strategic move for Yamaha right now, considering the fact that the company is essentially re-entering the side-by-side business after nearly a 3-year absence. The multi-passenger sport utility marketplace is hot right now. When we say hot, we don't mean pure sport side-by-side segment hot. Clearly, 6-passenger sport utility side-by-sides appeal to a broad range of buyers covering off pure utility and weekend sport markets. The Viking, with its Yamaha DNA, carries tremendous equity in the marketplace. Buyers have a deep attachment to Yamaha's proven reliability, and these same buyers place a high value on the brand equity the Yamaha logo on the side of the Viking VI carries. Regular DirtTrax viewers will have seen our full-on Viking test ride last season and will know that we rated this side-by-side very high. To make things simpler, we'll just pick up where we left off with the 3-passenger Viking. The Viking VI gets a 31.5-inch stretch between the back of the front seats and the front of the cargo box, and the same amount added to its wheelbase. All other dimensions are exactly the same, including the large dump box and the exceptionally spacious front seat and cab area. The front seat on the Viking is a comfortable perch with lots of knee and elbow room and a welcome foot dam next to the accelerator pedal to keep front seat passengers from jumping on the throttle. If space is something you value, the Viking VI will not disappoint. The Viking VI provides more comfortable accommodation for 6 occupants than some popular small automobiles. Having said this, there is a persistent area of concern that we outlined with the Viking 3-passenger, and that is power, more specifically, the lack of it. Let's get something straight. We may be known as power-crazed off-roaders at DirtTrax. However, we are serious when we say the Viking 700cc single overhead cam single is being asked to do a lot in the new 6-place Viking. With 1,200 pounds of corn-fed passengers on board and 600 pounds of cargo in the box, the Viking feels, well, anemic. So Yamaha has thrown their stellar, torquey, and exceptionally reliable 700cc single at the Viking VI for motivation. And this question still surfaces. Does the Viking need more power? Indubitably. The Viking VI comes in 3 different flavors. There's the base model without electronic power steering. By the way, don't take one home without EPS. Then there's the standard version with EPS and the SE version with EPS, custom black aluminum rims, Maxxis Bighorn 2.0 skins, and a standard soft sun top. What do we think the Viking VI is missing? For sure, Yamaha can easily slide a V-twin 1000cc engine out back. The driver's perch is begging for a tilt steering wheel, and at this price level, Yamaha needs to lose these cheap-looking, floppy tailgate latches. We're convinced the buyer loyalty and consumer confidence Yamaha's brand equity commands will drive sales of both the Viking and the Viking VI this year. Mechanically, the Viking is bulletproof and ridiculously reliable. The permanently engaged CVT tranny used on all Yamaha side-by-side vehicles has a legendary reputation for unending belt life and consistent performance. Simply put, that's the stuff which keeps buyers coming back to Yamaha. While it's true our pulses are not pounding at the introduction of the Viking VI, we believe its arrival signals Yamaha's commitment to cover a large segment of the side-by-side business in a short period of time. The question which you and we want answered is this: when will Yamaha's answer to the Polaris RZR land?
DirtTrax is sponsored by Triton Trailers. Know it, own it, haul it.
So you're sitting at home drilling over all the cool 60-inch wide side-by-sides and you're wishing that there was an easy way for you to turn your RZR into a RZR S. Well, guess what? There is. Trade-in values can be frustrating, and so can the rest of your week when you suggest to the better half that you want to upgrade. Sure, there's a time for a new ride, but before you throw in the towel and give up on your 50-inch wide RZR 800, let me enlighten you. A wide arm kit isn't anything new, but the way that SuperATV does them is. It's as simple as a few clicks on your computer to spec out the right wide arm kit for your ride, including everything you need to get the job done. The precision and craftsmanship of the SuperATV product is, in my opinion, among the nicest we've seen from the aftermarket. I've installed $5,000 wide arm kits, and they have nothing over this +5 RZR 800 kit. +5 means 5 inches of extra width on each side, making our base 50-inch wide RZR the same size as the RZR S. And one extra cool feature we gain over the RZR S is incredible clearance, as this kit is a high clearance version, making for some seriously interesting looking A-arms. The inclusions in this kit truly are impressive. You can use your stock CV joints with an upgraded Rhino axle stub, as well as your stock shocks with an upgraded drop bracket, but I opted to go with the brand new Rhino axles including the CV joints, as well as the Sport Series Phantom shocks, to make this a true one-stop shop. Installing a kit of this magnitude seems daunting. You're removing everything suspension related, including the wheels, spindle, including the disc brake calipers and rotors, shocks, the A-arms, both front and rear, all 4 axles, as well as the brake lines, along with the sway bars and associated components. But don't be too concerned. If you can follow detailed instructions with color photographs and spin a wrench or two, you're probably going to be able to get this done in about a day. Up front are fully adjustable tie rods that replace the stock ones. This is a really nice feature as it keeps the steering setup strong, where many other kits will use a tie rod sleeved extender and pretty much without question fail. Up next, we pop the brand new Rhino axles into the differentials. Because we have such a new vehicle to put this kit on, we don't need to replace the bushings. We're just going to reuse the old ones on the entire vehicle. But if your buggy has more than 1,000 miles on it, don't even think
just click the Poly Kit from SuperATV when you order yours. Installation of the A-arms is very straightforward. On the rear of this kit we have an adjustable lower joint. This will need to be properly measured so you don't change the camber of the wheel. Being adjustable means you can fine-tune the camber if for some reason yours is off. Following the A-arms, we replaced the spindles along with the disc brakes and rotors, and we replaced 2 of the brake lines. Up next, we're going to put a completely new rear sway bar in with new links. This is a nice sway bar and includes all new double ball joint links. It's easy to line up and even has grease zerks like all the other components on this SuperATV Plus 5 kit. They truly didn't leave anything out. Our final step to the build is to add the Phantom Sport Series shocks. Now these are a really nice shock, fully rebuildable, and they have threaded preload adjustment. And they only add a total of $200 to the complete kit when you order it online. That is one screamin' deal. These shocks are a nice upgrade over stock, are rebuildable, and only cost about $100 over the price of the kit when you use the shock drop bracket to use your stock shocks. Unless you've upgraded your shocks already, it's a no-brainer. Better quality, better ride, better choice. Once I get the wheels reinstalled, I'll be able to show you just how much of a difference this SuperATV kit makes. I mean, you didn't think I was going to do all of this work and not have some fun, did you? Tune into next week's episode where I'll put the SuperATV Plus 5 high clearance kit to the true test.
DirtTrax Television has been sponsored by Polaris, the ultimate in off-road vehicles. Can-Am, the ride says it all. MBRP Performance Exhaust, making power with MBRP. Arctic Cat, share our passion. And by Honda. Check out the growing family of Honda ATVs and side-by-sides.
If you enjoyed this video, post a comment and let us know what you think. Then, click this link to subscribe and that link for more great videos from DirtTrax TV.